November 8, 1942, Sidi Farouk Beach, Algeria. The first American infantry units waded ashore in North Africa carrying a weapon that would revolutionize warfare, though most of them didn't know how to use it. Among the equipment crates marked Secret were 5,000 M1 rocket launchers, soon to be known as bazookas. Within 18 months, this simple tube costing $25 to produce would force the complete reorganization of German armored tactics and inspire desperate attempts to copy American innovation. The mathematics of armored warfare were about to be rewritten not by massive anti-tank guns or complex engineering, but a steel tube that any infantry private could operate after minimal training. The bazooka would transform American soldiers from tank victims to tank hunters, giving every squad the power to destroy the Wehrmacht's most fearsome weapons. The transformation began at Aberdeen Proving Ground, Maryland, on May 6, 1942. Colonel Leslie Skinner and Lieutenant Edward Uhl arrived for a demonstration of various anti-tank weapons. Their launcher was literally assembled that morning from materials found on site. As documented in Aberdeen Proving Ground's official history, Uhl had discovered a steel tube in a scrap pile that happened to be the right diameter. The sights were fashioned from a wire coat hanger bent with pliers. Army Ordnance had scheduled tests of British-designed spigot mortars, complex devices weighing over 100 pounds, that required trained crews. The assembled generals, including Major General Glaudian Barnes, Chief of Research and Engineering, initially paid little attention to Uhl's simple tube. The demonstration proved decisive. 5 different spigot mortars fired at a moving M3 Stewart from 150 yards. None scored a hit. The crews struggled with complex sighting systems, and the heavy weapons were difficult to traverse quickly. Then Uhl stepped forward. According to his own account, preserved in Army Ordnance records, "I wore a welder's mask for that first shot, thinking there might be dangerous backblast. There wasn't. I put the tube on my shoulder, lined up those coat hanger sights, and squeezed the trigger. The rocket whooshed out and slammed directly into the tank's side. Then I reloaded in 5 seconds and hit it again." General Barnes examined the weapon and reportedly exclaimed, "It looks like Bob Burns' bazooka," referring to the radio comedian's homemade musical instrument. Within minutes, Barnes ordered 5,000 units for immediate production. General Electric's factories would begin manufacturing within weeks. By October 1942, General Electric and other contractors were producing 5,000 bazookas monthly. The speed was unprecedented, from improvised prototype to mass production in 5 months. Each M1 rocket launcher required just $20 of steel, basic welding, and simple electrical components, costing $25 total. The M6 rockets cost $8 to produce. The weapon specifications were remarkably simple: a seamless steel tube 54 inches long, 2.36 inches in diameter, weighing 13 pounds. 2 dry cell batteries in the shoulder stock provided electrical ignition. The rocket was inserted from the rear, a wire connected, and when fired could penetrate 3 to 4 inches of armor at 300 yards. Captain Franklin Johnson, training officer at Fort Benning, documented in his official report, "We could train a man to use the bazooka effectively in 1 afternoon. The same soldier would need weeks to master a 37mm anti-tank gun. More importantly, 2 men with a bazooka could go anywhere infantry could go." Operation Torch, the Allied invasion of North Africa, began November 8, 1942. Among the 107,000 American and British troops were units of the 1st Infantry Division, 1st Armored Division, and 509th Paratrooper Infantry Regiment, equipped with the first bazookas to see combat. The debut was nearly catastrophic. As historians Michael and Gladys Green documented, General Eisenhower discovered the night before the invasion that troops had received no training on the new weapon. The bazookas had arrived in sealed crates marked secret, with orders not to open them until the operation began. According to the 1st Infantry Division's after-action report, soldiers had to figure out the weapon's operation under fire. Many early M6 rockets damaged by moisture during the sea voyage failed to fire or detonated prematurely. The 509th Paratroop Infantry Regiment reported that of their first 20 rockets fired in combat, only 7 functioned properly. Despite these problems, some units achieved success. The 1st Armored Division's combat log for November 10, 1942, records anti-tank team destroyed 2 Vichy French Renault tanks with new rocket weapon near Port Lyautey. Weapon effective when functioning properly. The German capture of American bazookas occurred during the Battle of Kasserine, February 14 to 24, 1943, when elements of the Afrika Korps' 10th and 21st Panzer Divisions overran American positions at Sidi Bouzid. They captured substantial quantities of equipment from the retreating U.S. Second Corps. According to German military archives, 5 intact M1 bazookas and approximately 20 M6 rockets were immediately sent to Berlin for analysis. The Wehrmacht weapons testing facility at Kummersdorf received the weapons on February 28, 1943. German technical reports from March 1943, now held in the Bundesarchiv, reveal their assessment. The American rocket launcher represents a simple solution to infantry anti-tank capability. Weight 6 kilograms. Production requirements minimal. Effectiveness penetrates 80 mm armor at 100 meters. This weapon can be mass-produced using basic industrial facilities. The Germans immediately began developing their own version, increasing the warhead diameter from 60 mm to 88 mm. By September 1943, the Haketen Panzerbus 43 Panzerschreck entered production. German production records show they manufactured 289,151 Panzerschrecks during the war. Impressive, but still far short of American production. Operation Husky, the invasion of Sicily beginning July 10, 1943, marked the bazooka's maturation as a weapon system. American forces now fielded the improved M1A1 model with better electrical contacts and the more reliable M6A1 rocket. The most notable bazooka success in Sicily occurred near Biscari in July 1943. According to U.S. Army Ordnance Observer reports, an M1A1 bazooka team from the 82nd Airborne Division achieved an extraordinary hit on a Tiger I tank, penetrating through the driver's vision slot, one of the vehicle's few vulnerable points. While this represented exceptional marksmanship rather than typical performance, it demonstrated the weapon's potential. The Hermann Göring Panzer Division's War Diary for July 11, 1943 noted, "Enemy infantry equipped with rocket weapons capable of destroying armor at 100 to 150 meters. Tank commanders must exercise increased caution in urban areas." Colonel James Gavin, commanding the 505th Paratroop Regiment, reported, "The bazooka has given the American infantrymen confidence against enemy armor. In Sicily, we destroyed 17 German tanks with bazookas. The psychological effect exceeds even the physical destruction." During the Italian campaign beginning September 1943, the bazooka evolved from anti-tank weapon to universal problem solver. The mountainous terrain and medieval towns provided ideal conditions for bazooka employment. The December 1943 battle for Ortona demonstrated the weapon's versatility. According to Canadian military records, bazooka teams developed mouse-hauling tactics, blowing passages through buildings rather than using dangerous streets. The 1st Canadian Infantry Division's war diary recorded, "American rocket launchers proved invaluable in street fighting, used against fortified houses with good effect." By January 1944, American production had reached 20,000 bazookas monthly. The M9 model had been introduced, featuring a breakdown design for airborne troops and magneto-ignition that eliminated batteries. The M6A3 rocket, with its blunt nose, prevented deflection on angled armor. Fifth Army reports from the Italian campaign documented that every infantry battalion now possessed 24 to 36 bazookas. The weapon had become standard equipment, as common as machine guns. The proliferation of bazookas forced fundamental changes in German armored doctrine. Wehrmacht Training Directive 43/18, issued December 1943, mandated tanks will not operate in urban areas without infantry support. All buildings must be cleared before armor advances. Minimum 100 meters distance from uncleared structures. Schutzen-Sidekirts must be maintained on all vehicles. German tank crews began welding extra track lengths, sandbags, and concrete to their vehicles for additional protection. The Zimmerit anti-magnetic paste, applied from December 1943 to October 1944, was partially a response to shaped charge threats. A captured document from the 2nd SS Panzer Division dated March 1944 stated, "American rocket launchers present in every infantry unit. Speed and shock tactics no longer viable. Methodical advance with infantry screening required." By D-Day, June 6, 1944, the bazooka had become integral to Allied infantry organization. Among the 156,000 Allied troops landing in Normandy were thousands of bazooka teams equipped with the latest M9A1 model, featuring an optical sight. The bocage country of Normandy, dense hedges creating natural defensive positions, proved ideal for bazooka employment. First Army records show that in the 6 weeks following D-Day, bazookas accounted for 12% of German armored vehicle losses. The 29th Infantry Division's after-action report for June-July 1944 noted bazooka teams operating in hedgerow country achieved high success rates against enemy armor. German tanks increasingly reluctant to advance without extensive infantry reconnaissance. German production records revealed the industrial reality behind their response to the bazooka. The Panzerschreck, while technically superior with its 88mm warhead, capable of 160mm armor penetration versus the bazooka's 100mm, was more complex to manufacture. Production comparison from German and American archives. Panzerschreck, 24 pounds, 18 man-hours to produce, cost 150 Reichsmarks. Bazooka M9, 15 pounds, 2.4 man-hours to produce, cost $25. By August 1944, America had produced over 400,000 bazookas. Germany managed 289,151 Panzerschrecks during the entire war. The Americans were outproducing German copies by nearly 2 to 1, while simultaneously producing simpler, more portable weapons. The German Ardennes offensive in December 1944 provided severe testing of the bazooka under winter conditions. The 99th Infantry Division's combat interviews conducted immediately after the battle documented numerous bazooka engagements. Technical Sergeant Donald Bracken, 394th Infantry Regiment, reported destroying a Panther tank near Rocheroth on December 17, 1944. The rocket hit the rear engine deck. The tank caught fire and the crew abandoned it. Range was about 75 yards. The extreme cold created documented problems. Battery failures in remaining M1A1 models still in service required soldiers to warm batteries inside their jackets. The 2nd Infantry Division reported that rocket propellant burned differently in sub-zero temperatures, affecting range and accuracy. Despite these challenges, 18th Airborne Corps records show bazookas destroyed or disabled 89 German armored vehicles during the Battle of the Bulge. One of the most remarkable bazooka employments came from Major Charles Carpenter of the 4th Armored Division. As documented in his Silver Star citation and confirmed by multiple witnesses, Carpenter mounted 6 M9 bazookas on his L-4 Grasshopper observation aircraft. His combat record verified by 4th Armored Division records. September 20, 1944, 2 Panther tanks destroyed near Aracourt. October 1944, 1 Panzer IV destroyed. November 1944, 3 armored vehicles destroyed. Carpenter's aircraft, complete with mounting brackets for the bazookas, was discovered in an Austrian museum in 2017 and has been restored. His innovation demonstrated the weapon's versatility beyond conventional infantry use. Final production statistics from U.S. Army Ordnance records. Bazooka production M1, 112,790 units. M1A1, approximately 60,000 units. M9, 26,087 units. M9A1, approximately 277,800 units. M18 aluminum, 500 units. Total, 476,628 units. Rocket production, 1942, 2,000. 1943, 2,847,000. 1944, 8,566,000. 1945, 4,065,000. Total, 15,603,000. Unit costs, 1945. M1/M9 Bazooka, $19 to $25. M6A3 rocket, $8.85. Complete system, launcher plus 10 rockets, approximately $110. For comparison, according to German production records, Panzer IV tank, 103,000 Reichsmarks, approximately $41,000. Panther tank, 117,000 Reichsmarks, approximately $47,000. Tiger I tank, 250,000 Reichsmarks, approximately $100,000. U.S. Army Ordnance conducted extensive analysis of bazooka effectiveness in 1945. Their findings: average engagement range, 75 yards. Hit probability at 50 yards, 85%. Hit probability at 100 yards, 42%. Hit probability at 150 yards, 18%. Armor penetration, 3.5 to 4 inches, 89 to 102 millimeters, with M6A3 rocket. Tank destruction analysis from European theater from 1st Army records. Tanks destroyed by other tanks, 38%. Tanks destroyed by anti-tank guns, 13%. Tanks destroyed by aircraft, 14%. Tanks destroyed by bazookas, 12%. Tanks destroyed by mines, 5%. These statistics likely understate bazooka effectiveness, as many German tanks were abandoned when threatened by rocket teams rather than actually destroyed. Post-war interrogations of German officers conducted by the U.S. Strategic Bombing Survey revealed consistent themes about the bazooka's impact. While specific document citations are often general in these interrogation summaries, the pattern is clear. Field Marshal Albert Kesselring, German commander in Italy, stated in his interrogation that American rocket launchers forced fundamental changes in German tactical doctrine. The speed and shock tactics that had brought victory in 1940 to 1941 were negated by the threat of infantry anti-tank weapons. General Heinz Guderian, in his post-war writings, acknowledged that the proliferation of infantry anti-tank weapons like the bazooka invalidated the independent operation of armor that had been central to German doctrine. The bazooka threat influenced German tank development from 1943 onward. German armored vehicle production records show addition of Scherzen and side skirts to Panzer III-4 models starting April 1943, application of Zimmerit paste from September 1943, increased side armor on Panther US model, development of infantry support variants with enhanced anti-personnel armament. These modifications added weight and complexity to German vehicles, reducing their mobility advantage, while American tanks remained relatively simple and reliable. Lend-Lease records document bazooka distribution to Allied forces. Soviet Union, 8,000 units. United Kingdom, 12,000 units. Free French forces, 15,000 units. Chinese Nationalist forces, 3,000 units. Other Allied nations, 23,628 units. Soviet military archives indicate the Red Army found the bazooka effective but preferred their own anti-tank rifles, and later the RPG-2 developed partially from bazooka principles. While less publicized than European use, bazookas proved valuable in the Pacific. Marine Corps records from Saipan, June to July 1944, show bazookas destroyed 28 Japanese tanks and countless fortified positions. The weapon's versatility was demonstrated through various rocket types: M6A3, standard anti-tank heat; M10, white phosphorus incendiary/smoke; M7A3, practice round. Marine units particularly valued white phosphorus rockets for clearing cave complexes and destroying Japanese bunkers. At Iwo Jima, the 5th Marine Division expended 1,847 bazooka rockets in 6 weeks of fighting. The bazooka's continued relevance was proven in Korea when initial M9A1 bazookas proved inadequate against T-34-85 tanks due to degraded ammunition. However, the rapid development and deployment of the M20 Super Bazooka with its 3.5-inch rocket demonstrated the weapon system's adaptability. Marine Sergeant Robert Bennett's combat report from Busan, September 1950, stated, "The new 3.5-inch bazookas stumped T-34s cold, first shot, first kill at 125 yards. The psychological shift was immediate. This rapid adaptation from problem identification to solution deployment in under 90 days demonstrated the flexibility of the simple bazooka design." The bazooka embodied American industrial philosophy in World War II. Analysis of production methods reveals manufacturing simplicity. Any factory with basic welding equipment could produce tubes. No special alloys or precision machining required. Assembly time, 2.4 man-hours per unit. Training time for assembly workers, 2 days. Distribution efficiency. By 1944, every U.S. infantry company had 5 bazookas. Every U.S. battalion had 25 to 35 bazookas. Ammunition readily available through standard supply chains. This contrasted sharply with German production philosophy, which emphasized technical superiority over quantity. The Wehrmacht's focus on complex, high-performance weapons, limited production capacity, and field maintenance capability. U.S. Army training records document the bazooka's impact on infantry doctrine. Pre-bazooka, 1941, infantry anti-tank training focused on anti-tank rifles, ineffective against medium tanks, anti-tank grenades, suicidal close-range attacks, Molotov cocktails, desperate measures. Post-Bazooka, 1943 to 1945, every infantry soldier trained in bazooka operation, 2-hour basic course, tank hunting tactics, coordinated anti-tank defense. The psychological transformation was documented in infantry school reports. The bazooka has given the infantry soldier confidence against armor. Previous tank panic has been replaced by aggressive tank hunting. Combat units developed innovative bazooka tactics, documented in after-action reports. Urban combat from the 3rd Infantry Division, Italy. 2-man teams operating from upper floors, targeting tank vision blocks and turret rings. Mouse-holing through buildings. Bocage fighting from the 29th Infantry Division, Normandy. Concealed positions in hedgerows, targeting side and rear armor. Coordinated multi-team ambushes. Winter warfare from the 99th Infantry Division. Wrens warming rockets within clothing. Snow camouflage for approach. Targeting engine compartments for fire kills. Cost-effectiveness analysis from Army Ordnance. To destroy one German tank using tanks, averaged 2.5 Shermans lost per German tank destroyed, approximately $187,500. Using anti-tank guns, gun and crew training, approximately $45,000. Using aircraft, including aircraft losses and munitions, approximately $80,000. Using bazookas, average 5 rockets and occasional launcher loss, approximately $50. This 1,000 to 1 cost advantage made the bazooka revolutionary economically. For the price of one Sherman tank, $75,000, the Army could purchase 3,000 bazookas and 20,000 rockets. The bazooka principle, simple man-portable anti-tank weapons, became universal in military doctrine. Direct descendants, M72 Law, light anti-tank weapon, AT-4 anti-tank weapon, Carl Gustaf recoilless rifle, Soviet RPG series. Over 40 nations produced bazooka variants or copies. The fundamental concept, giving infantry portable anti-tank capability, remains central to military organization worldwide. The German Tank Museum at Münster includes a permanent display on anti-tank weapons featuring the American bazooka. Their official placard states, "The American M1 rocket launcher bazooka revolutionized anti-tank warfare. Simple, cheap, and effective. It could be operated by any soldier with minimal training." German forces captured examples in Tunisia in 1943 and immediately recognized its potential, developing the Panzerschreck in response. By war's end, the presence of bazookas in every American unit had neutralized German armored superiority. The bazooka underwent continuous improvement based on combat feedback. M1, June 1942. Original version, battery ignition, 112,790 produced. M1A1, June 1943. Reinforced tube, improved contacts, approximately 60,000 produced. M9, October 1943. Two-piece design, magneto ignition, 26,087 produced. M9A1, June 1944. Optical sight, improved coupling, approximately 277,800 produced. M18, April 1945. Aluminum construction, 500 produced before war's end. Rocket development paralleled launcher improvement. M6, pointed nose, 3-inch penetration. M6A3, blunt nose, preventing deflection, 4-inch penetration. M10, white phosphorus warhead. M7A3, practice round. The U.S. Army Military History Institute's comprehensive 1962 study concluded no single weapon changed battlefield dynamics more than the rocket launcher M1 M9 bazooka. It democratized anti-tank warfare, giving every infantry unit the capability to defeat armor. The German development of their own rocket weapons in response validated the concept. In terms of cost-effectiveness, tactical impact, and strategic significance, the bazooka ranks among the most important weapons of World War II. Analysis of German operational records reveals the bazooka's strategic effect. Pre-bazooka, 1940 to 1942, German armor operated independently with confidence. Infantry fled from approaching tanks. Breakthrough and exploitation tactics succeeded. Post-bazooka, 1943 to 1945, armor required constant infantry support. Every building and hedge became potential ambush site. Breakthrough operations became costly and slow. This operational shift, documented in Wehrmacht war diaries, fundamentally altered the European battlefield dynamics. The bazooka production represented American industrial capability. Peak production, March 1945, 42,000 launchers produced, 540,000 rockets produced, 237 subcontractors involved, 34 states with production facilities. This distributed production model made the supply chain resilient. No single bombing raid or sabotage could significantly impact bazooka availability, unlike German production concentrated in vulnerable facilities. The bazooka's simplicity enabled its widespread adoption. Training records show average soldier achieved basic proficiency in 2 hours. Combat proficiency typically achieved after 5 practice rounds. No special physical requirements unlike anti-tank rifles. Effective use by soldiers of all backgrounds. This democratization of anti-tank capability meant that any infantry squad could engage armor, fundamentally changing battlefield dynamics. Comparing contemporary anti-tank weapons reveals the bazooka's advantages. British Piat, weight 32 pounds versus bazooka's 15 pounds. Range 100 yards versus bazooka's 300 yards. Reliability issues in wet conditions. Complex spring mechanism requiring strength. To Soviet PTRD anti-tank rifle, weight 38 pounds, limited effectiveness against medium tanks, severe recoil requiring sturdy soldiers, single shot requiring precise marksmanship. German Panzerfaust, single-use disposable weapon, very short range, 30 to 60 meters, no sighting system, dangerous backblast area. The bazooka offered the best combination of portability, effectiveness, range, and reusability. The bazooka's strategic impact extended beyond tactical employment. Force structure enabled lighter, more mobile infantry divisions. Logistics, simple ammunition supply compared to anti-tank guns. Training, rapid conversion of civilians to tank hunters. Psychology, transformed infantry from victims to hunters. Economics, massive cost advantage over traditional anti-tank weapons. These factors combined to give American forces a significant advantage in combined arms operations. The bazooka succeeded through simplicity rather than sophistication. While Germany developed technically superior weapons, America's ability to mass-produce and widely distribute good enough technology proved decisive. By war's end, virtually every American infantry squad possessed anti-tank capability. This proliferation of firepower to the lowest tactical level exemplified American military doctrine, trusting the citizen soldier with powerful weapons and the training to use them effectively. The Germans entered World War II with the world's most powerful armored forces, their tanks dominating battlefields from Poland to France. They were ultimately defeated, partly by American teenagers carrying steel tubes that cost less than a bicycle. The bazooka proved that in modern industrial warfare, the ability to mass-produce and distribute simple weapons could overcome technical superiority. It demonstrated that innovation didn't require complexity. Sometimes, the best solution was the simplest one that could be manufactured by the thousands. The bazooka's development, from Edward O. Harrell's improvised tube with coat-hanger sights to a weapon that helped defeat Nazi Germany, represents American industrial democracy at its finest. In just 3 years, from May 1942 to May 1945, American factories produced 476,628 bazookas and over 15 million rockets, fundamentally altering the nature of ground combat. The weapon's impact was both physical and psychological. Physically, it gave infantry the power to destroy tanks at practical combat ranges. Psychologically, it transformed soldiers from potential victims into active hunters. German armored forces, which had revolutionized warfare with blitzkrieg tactics, found themselves slowed to a crawl by the threat of rocket teams hidden in every building, hedgerow, and pile of rubble. The bazooka succeeded not through technical sophistication, but through practical simplicity. It could be manufactured quickly, distributed widely, and operated effectively by any soldier with minimal training. This combination of simplicity, effectiveness, and mass production embodied the American approach to warfare, overwhelming the enemy through industrial might rather than tactical brilliance alone. Today, every military in the world equips its infantry with portable anti-tank weapons, direct descendants of the bazooka principle. The fundamental concept, giving the individual soldier the power to defeat armored vehicles, remains as relevant now as it was when Lieutenant Edward O. Harrell fired that first rocket from his improvised launcher at Aberdeen Proving Ground in 1942. The bazooka was more than a weapon. It was democracy made manifest in steel and explosives. It proved that free workers in American factories could produce simple weapons in such quantities that they would overwhelm the products of German engineering. It validated the American faith in the citizen soldier, trusting ordinary men with extraordinary firepower. The Germans were shocked to discover that their vaunted armored forces could be stopped by a simple tube that cost less than a week's wages for a factory worker. But that shock revealed a fundamental truth about modern warfare. In an industrial conflict, the nation that can produce the most weapons and distribute them most widely will prevail over the nation that produces the best weapons in limited quantities. The bazooka was, in the words inscribed at the former U.S. Army Ordnance Museum, proof that American ingenuity and mass production could triumph over complexity and craftsmanship. From the beaches of Normandy to the mountains of Italy, from the hedges of France to the forests of the Ardennes, the bazooka gave American soldiers the tool they needed to stand against German armor. That simple tube, born from scrap metal and coat-hanger wire, helped write the final chapter of the Third Reich, one rocket at a time.